The fee Celtic will receive for Daniel Kelly as club agrees swift departure. We discussed this week how the 18-year-old had already signed a pre-contract agreement with the English Championship club after talks to sign a contract extension with Celtic failed. Celtic had reportedly offered to pay young Kelly £5,000 per week to extend his stay at Celtic Park, but the Scotland U19 international refused to sign the deal. Brendan Rodgers took a hard-line stance with the academy graduate and didn't involve Kelly in any of Celtic's pre-season preparations this summer. And now, according to Lanarkshire Live Sport, Kelly is now set to move to the London-based club after Millwall agreed a fee with Celtic. The report says Celtic are set to bank an initial £400,000 for Kelly with add-ons, and that the young Scot is set to hold a medical with Millwall in the next 24-48 hours. The youngster is in London now, and the report also says that Millwall are hoping to have him in early so he can be involved in Millwall's upcoming English Championship clash with Hull City next Saturday. The move will end a summer-long series of headlines and speculation regarding the young midfielder, and now Kelly can close his Celtic chapter to continue his story down south. Although it is disappointing to lose a player of his caliber and potential, hopefully, Celtic have managed to negotiate a sell-on clause for Kelly as he does have a bright future ahead of him and was highly rated at Lennox Town. Kelly's transfer will be Celtic's 9th permanent departure of the summer window after Brendan Rodgers allowed the likes of Bosun Lawal, Sead Haksabanovic and Hyunju Oh to leave the club in order to further their careers. Like the first meeting, the boys got off to an electric start in the Scottish League Cup clash, scoring in the opening minutes through Daizen Maeda. Gray reckons his players are making the same mistakes again and again despite strong feedback from his coaching team, lamenting how Celtic managed to dominate the match. Telling his own club's media channel he was angry after the full-time whistle, Gray went on to give a more extensive warning to his players via the Herald. The Hibs manager said, "I feel like I'm repeating myself here because of what happened last weekend. The way the game started, we were on the front foot right away, first time Celtic go forward, an individual error, and then we lose the goal. Which is not good enough, especially with all the things we talked about pre-game. This is a tough enough test to come here at any time, but you can't give that level of that opposition a goal of a start. Then for the first 30 minutes until we find ourselves back in the game, from a set piece that was a good finish, good header, we get back into the game at that moment. But up until that point we had to tweak the system a little bit to become even harder to beat because at that point Celtic were completely dominating. We slipped back into what it was for the majority of the game last weekend. That really disappointed me. One mistake becomes two mistakes, we lose a goal again, and from that point I thought Celtic were completely dominating again. We slipped back into that same mode again, and right now it's just not acceptable for us." In fairness to the Easter Road players, doing double duty against Brendan Rodgers' Celtic is a tough ask, especially at this stage of the season. The boys are motoring and unified while Gray and his players are still at the start of a journey. Yes, they look as if they lack belief and quality right now, but most teams in Scotland will appear that way when facing the reigning champions. As tough as it is for others, it's Celtic's job to leave them feeling this way after matches. The team are delivering and long may it continue. However, we know that teams covet his signature with cash-rich sides such as Atlanta and Brighton showing interest throughout the summer months. Brendan Rodgers was quizzed on his future by Premier Sports after the Scottish League Cup victory, but the Celtic boss is as uncertain as anyone on what the future holds. Asked if he expects the Danish international to still be with the club in September, the Celtic boss said, "I don't know," is the honest answer. "You see with him that he is an incredibly talented player.